Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Events with David USA. I'm your host, Manu Mazam Khan, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today along with our wonderful guest and all of you. Our guest today is a visionary entrepreneur and the creative minds behind Maria's Cafe in Karachi. Joining us today is the incredible lady, Miss Maria herself. Hi, Maria. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. We're super glad to have you on the
I'm
show.
very excited to be here.
Likewise. Ladies and gentlemen, Maria's journey in the cafe industry is a rich blend of creativity and entrepreneurship, and therefore, the theme of our podcast today is creating and crafting culinary experiences with Maria. Are you excited, Maria?
I'm super excited. I love to talk about food and my journey and what I'm doing here.
We're super excited to hear about your thoughts and just generally your journey at Maria's Cafe. So, Maria, shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So my first question to you, Maria, would be, could you run us through your entrepreneurial journey a little bit? What inspired you to start Maria's Cafe?
Yes, sure. So basically, it all started when I decided to pursue my culinary education, and for that, I went to SCAFA Lahore and I did my professional pastry there. I did professional finishing, and I felt like it was very important in order for me to pursue my passion and to transform it into a career that I should be well equipped with the right knowledge, skills, and everything that I would need. And so my passion has always been desserts. I have a major sweet tooth. I love eating desserts. I love thinking about desserts, creating and baking. So I felt like that was my calling. And so I took that course, and that really just got me started with what I needed to do. It helped me understand what I like to bake and what could be my specialties down the line. And so once I did that, I came back to Karachi. This was in Lahore, so I came back to Karachi and I started looking for internships and jobs. And luckily, my first ever job was doing R&D, research and development, which was like my dream at the time because it allowed me to be creative. And I think that's very important when you're starting out to not be kind of held back by any sort of patterns or rules.
Absolutely.
And so kind of doing that really just allowed me to understand how to kind of bake the right things and what I like doing even more. And then to kind of further my education about all of this, I went to Dubai. I did a course on chocolate over there because I felt like that was like something that people weren't focusing on as much. So I did that. I came back, and it was around COVID time. And so I was really kind of nervous about how I could get started with my business. But at the same time, it was also a lucky time because during COVID times, a lot of home-based bakers were doing their things. A lot of online businesses were coming into being. And so it felt like the right time to kind of start. And with online work, you have your comfort. You make the rules, and it's mostly pickup or delivery, all of that. And so once I kind of got a good understanding of that, and I was able to build some customers, and people were aware of my work and kind of got to sample and taste my products, I feel like at that point I decided, okay, let's commercialize this now.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So, Maya, let's start on a lighter note. So, you told me about your journey. So, could you tell me what's an average morning like, a morning like in the life of patissiere Maria?
Yeah, that's a very fun question for me. So I am a morning person, and I like to start my mornings very slow. So I like to wake up and have a cup of chai, not coffee, even though that's what people tend to lean more towards. But I have my cup of chai in the morning, and I start to plan out my day and my production schedule, and I get to work around 10 in the morning. And but at that point, the kitchen is already running, the staff is here, and we're all set, and we just go over what we have to do for the day. And once I'm in the kitchen, I'm like in a different zone. I'm like all about my kitchen is in the basement only. So it's a funny joke. We say it's like my den because I just love being there. So once I just start my work in the kitchen, I just go through all that we have to do.
Hours pass by.
Hours pass by, and I come up to the cafe around 5:36, and that's when I feel like, okay, now I can focus on being here, and I get to speak to customers and just see what's going on, how is everyone doing upstairs, and just.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Maya, all cafes have like a certain aesthetic appeal. So could you tell us something about your theme and your process of coming up with a theme for Maria's Cafe?
Yeah. So even this is like a very interesting aspect. So I like to tell everyone that my brand and my cafe, it kind of grows with me. So initially when I started out, I did not kind of plan it down to every little detail, and I always like to leave some room for changes and improvement and figuring out what I'm feeling as I go. So when I started out, we just tried to keep it very minimal and very simple and to the point, just so customers and people could identify us as a brand and see, okay, what is going on over here, and kind of leave that room for mystery. And then we just kept adding stuff. So I would say like very chill and very just minimal.
Yeah, fair. That totally makes sense. So, Maya, I want to know, how much do you think the Instagrammability of a cafe contributes to the overall customer experience in general?
I think that's a huge factor. I feel like now there's like a different niche altogether, which is like a Instagrammable cafe. And I
Yeah.
think now mostly, you would
Coffee
think
shops, etc.
coffee shops.
For sure.
Like it's a thing. Finding a cute random coffee shop is a thing. And so it plays a huge part. And I think you have to, have those elements here and there that people would use to kind of identify you. And now with so many creators on social media, I think they do a wonderful job portraying it. And I think each creator brings their own like perspective into it. Sometimes people are recording our cafe, and when I see it on Instagram, I'm like, wow, you make my cafe look super good, man.
Yeah. So Maya, Instagrammability of a cafe is one thing. Then a location of a cafe, the location of a cafe is particularly like another factor. So what was the process like when you thought about the location for Maria's cafe? What were the other locations that you considered, and why did you choose this one specifically?
So one of the main reasons why we picked Phase 8 was because when we moved here 2 years ago, we started the cafe 1 year ago, but we moved here 2 years ago to this building, and at that point, Phase 8 was very new. And it was in its developing stages. It still is now, but there wasn't much around. But I know that would intimidate a lot of people and kind of make them double think their options and think about why they would want to open up a coffee shop here. But we were one of the first coffee shops in Phase 8. And so I think knowing that a lot of businesses were being set up and a lot of offices around us and being located in a commercial area, that's something, because with coffee, it's very grab and go, and a lot of working people need some sort of space. And I'm so glad that we can offer that to people around us in offices, and we have a lot of people coming in for their coffee breaks or for some sort of snacks, or if they're going home, they like to pick some stuff up and take home with them. So I feel like the location, it was because it was located in the central commercial.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I mean, you being the pioneer coffee shop, I'm sure
Yeah.
you must have been able to
Yeah.
retain like a lot of customers by now, because you.
For sure. Yeah, the Phase 8 people, we just connect. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that makes so much sense. And Maria, like just generally, like I'm sitting in the cafe, and I must say that the aroma of everything in the cafe is just sort of very distracting at the
Yeah.
moment. So could
Tempting.
you tell us? Yeah, very tempting, I must say, for sure. So could you tell us a bit about the menu, the specialties on your menu, and what are the hot and popular selling items? I've heard the coffee buns here
Yeah,
are like a
the
real
coffee
deal.
buns,
I mean, I
definitely.
can smell them too. So like that aroma is definitely there.
So, because I'm a pastry chef and I told you that I love desserts and I love to bake, so our main focus has always been baked goods along with our coffee. And so our menu consists of a variety of baked goods, and we have stuff like our bestsellers, which are the coffee buns, and they're followed by our cinnamon rolls. We've got cardamom buns. So cardamom buns you won't really find anywhere else in Karachi, and we kind of launched this with Middle Eastern flavors in mind. And I think a lot of people in Karachi, in Pakistan, really love the flavor cardamom in desi desserts. So I
Yeah.
feel like a bun is kind of like a twist on that, something you can pair with your evening coffee or tea. So you're going to find a lot of bakery products here, and we also have sandwiches and stuff like that, and we bake everything in-house. The breads for our sandwiches, everything that you see on our shelf is baked fresh in our kitchen downstairs.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, and I absolutely can't wait to dig into
Yeah,
it.
dig in
after.
and give it a try.
Yeah, definitely. So Maria, you said there's a lot of like customers, like especially the Phase 8 ones. There's generally a lot of ones that drop by. So can you share with us like some memorable moments, any heartwarming moments that you've had with like customers?
I've actually had like a bunch of heartwarming moments with my customers, and I feel like that is what kind of drives me furthermore to stay connected, because this brand, it's very, very personal and close to my heart, and you know, it's with my name. So I feel like a lot of the time when customers would come in, they would always wonder who is Maria.
Yeah.
And I feel like generally you do find a little bit of a disconnect between the owner or the chef and the customers.
For sure.
So I feel like I like to kind of lessen that distance and kind of always be around and let them know that I'm here. And one really, really sweet moment that I still remember was initially when the cafe was very new and a lot of people would not come in because we were still trying to figure out how to market it and how to set up a space and
Yeah.
everything. But we had this one customer who would order from us, and she would always send her driver to pick stuff up. And we had never met each other in real life. She would just get the bakery goods. And this one time I was having a particularly bad day and everything was just out of my control. It was going wrong and I was kind of struggling a little bit. And when when the driver came to drop the payment and take the parcel from us, he also gave me this other envelope and I'm like, what could this be? And I opened the envelope and it had her name and it was this motivational quote and just have courage and hope for one more day. And I'm like, how does she know I'm having a terrible day and how is this like a God sent little note coming to me? And so that was one moment that I always remember, and the fact that I had never met her, she didn't know me personally, but the sweet note with just the right
Have
words.
you still not met her?
I met her. I did.
That's
I met
amazing.
her. She came and she's like, "Are you Maria?" I'm like, "Are you like this angel that sent me that note?" And I literally still keep that note with me because just the wording and everything it said, I'm like, how can it be so accurate? Coming from someone that I don't even know.
I feel like, you know, sometimes it's those heartwarming moments that could be like your primary motivator.
They
So,
are.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like my customers, talking to them, meeting them, and speaking to them just really recharges and clears my brain. Because if I'm ever just going into any moment of doubt or if I need some sort of centering and I speak to my customers, I feel like all of them are so different and they have such amazing personalities. And I've been lucky enough to have the good customers come in. So I feel like all of connecting with them, it's like, you know, just this refresher.
Yeah, and you know, like the personability factor, once that becomes a part, like, I mean, you're so right about how there's like this gap that exists between cafe owners. Like, we'd never think about meeting like a cafe owner. And then, you know, when you're coming to Maria's
Yeah.
Cafe, you do, like, the first
Yeah.
thought that would come to your mind is like, oh, who is Maria?
I did have
So
this. Remember, I was also working the counter, so
Yeah.
I also make the coffees
Oh.
if I need to. So I know how to make coffees and do everything. So I remember I was at this counter and just doing all the bills, and this lady came in, and she was this old lady, and she was just speaking to me, and the coffee buns were going through a lot of hype at the time, and so she was grabbing them, and she's like, "Do you know how popular your coffee buns are?" And it just felt like at that moment, like this like sweet old lady telling me that. It was, I didn't know how to reply, so I said, "No, are they famous or something?" She's like, "Yeah, all over, people are talking about that." I'm like, "Oh, that's so nice. I'm so glad." So just hearing customers kind of tell me and, you know, definitely give their feedback.
So Maria, what's your top pick? Like, I mean, you said you do make coffee yourself. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, as a barista, what's your favorite, like, go-to
I feel like I
coffee?
always stick to a cappuccino. Cappuccino is like the perfect coffee in my eyes, just because it's lighter than a latte and it has that fluff to it as well, and it gives you the coffee shot that you need to kind of wake up and just get your work done.
Absolutely. I can totally relate
I feel
to
like
that
it's
as
the
well.
classic. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I could totally relate to that as well. So Maria, you know, like we've talked about customer experiences. Now, you know, like my next question to you perhaps would be, have you ever like ventured into like the event industry? Like, has Maria's Cafe ever like catered for a particular event?
Yeah, so we have done catering in the past, and we did do this event at this university called Denning Law School.
Okay.
And so they were having this huge debate competition, and they had like 200 students there. And so we had the opportunity of catering for that event, and it was a lot of fun. I feel like it was definitely just so much work, but so worth it. I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And you know, Maria, we also saw that you had a paint and sew event at
Yeah.
Maria's Cafe. So what was that? And you know, what was your experience and what did you entail from that experience?
So that was a very fun experience. By the way, I had a lot of fun, and I did spend a lot of my time at the cafe while it was happening. So basically, a friend of mine, her name is Fatma Siddiqui, and she's basically an artist, and she basically, her entire approach to art is art and therapy coming together. So she likes to host these workshops and these classes for people with a theme. So she has art by the ocean where people go to the, like the beach and everything, and they get to paint together over there. And so she wanted to do art and coffee
Like a
over here.
rejuvenation.
Exactly. And I feel like when I saw the turnout and I saw the people, I felt like this is a kind of something that a lot of people need. Like, I feel like we would always kind of hesitate and we don't see a lot of like painting workshops or like expressing yourself through art a lot. Like, we just see artists as artists and then normal people as normal people. So I feel like connecting the two, and I felt like it kind of really complemented my space and what I like to do, because it was all about skill and passion, and I feel like I'm so connected to craft in that manner because I like to be very hands-on with my work. So seeing people come together, like friends, couples, family, all of them just painting and having coffee and eating light bites, that was amazing. It was very sweet.
And I mean, it's events like these that do eventually end up resonating with the customers as well, and that you would want something like that.
For
too,
sure. I think it definitely put a lot of ideas into my head about what the space could also offer in the future. Yeah.
Well, that's totally amazing, and we're excited to know what
I'm
Maria's
super-
Cafe has in store for us in the future as well. So, Maria, how do you generally adapt your cafe offerings for catering and events that you do cater for?
So I feel like one of the reasons why I love doing catering and just kind of personalizing menus to the customer's needs is because it allows me to be more creative, and I feel like there are very few limits when it comes to customizing something.
Yeah,
And I feel like you kind of have to hear what the company or the customer wants from you and what the event is about, and then based on that we can always come up with a lot of options about whether it's an indoor event, an outdoor event, if there's any sort of dietary restrictions we have to follow, or if there's any preferences. And I feel like with that the possibilities are like endless. It's a lot of fun.
So, Maria, event planning companies generally are always in the lookout for diversified caterers that would meet the needs of themselves as well as the customer. So, do you have any advice particularly for the event planning companies as to how they can sort of, strategize or promulgate the caterers to play a part just generally?
Yeah, I feel like another thing is I feel like in terms of catering the food, it's always a big factor at every single event because you need the food to be on point. But
For
then at the
sure.
same time, I feel like you need to pick people and a team that will understand the needs of the event and what the preferences are, because I feel like everything is so standard. Like you said, like we just know that if it's high tea, then we are going to have those mini sandwiches.
Yeah.
But there's a world beyond those mini sandwiches if only we kind of connect the caterers and the restaurants and the people seeking out the entire event. I think if we just have a better connection, we can all do our roles and kind of come up with a menu that's just better than what we always see. Because all these options, because when you think of bakery, you just always think biscuits and chicken.
So, for example, Maria, if Maria's Cafe is doing catering for like a high tea corporate event, like corporate high tea, so how would Maria's Cafe sort of do something to complement the overall vibe of the?
I think it depends on what kind of people we're serving. With corporate, we know that we like to have everything neat and clean and everything in order. So we would probably do a lot of fun savories, like our focaccia sandwiches are a big hit. Our baguette topped sandwiches are a big hit. We could probably do stuff like crostini. We bake a lot of bread, so like have like a board as well.
Yeah.
We could do that. And then in terms of desserts, we have so many options. We have cold desserts, mousse cups, all of that, brownies, something fun.
Yeah, and how would an ideal, coffee station look like at an corporate event?
I feel like coffees are the new, especially given that it's almost winter time, and I feel like now coffee is what everybody kind of just relies on their coffee.
Yeah.
So I feel like ideally we would have our coffee station set up in a way where we can kind of cater to hot and cold options, along with have light bites as well, because I feel like snacks and coffee just go hand in hand. So I feel like needing that.
And yeah, I totally agree. I feel like cold coffee these days, or like
Iced
cold
lattes.
beverages are just so much
Yeah.
more popular than
They
hot
are.
beverages.
They
generally
really
as well.
are.
So yeah, so Maya, you talked about, like, for example, at a high tea you would want something different, or the diversity to be there, and I could not relate more. Like, I totally agree with that. But just generally, what are the like challenges that you feel the Pakistani catering space is facing, and how can they perhaps overcome the challenges?
I think one of the main challenges is that when you look at catering options, you don't see a lot of variety. And the reason probably for that is we don't have a lot of young people uh, in those groups and teams that are given the chance to kind of be highlighted. And I think
True.
when you look at catering options, it's always very basic and very standard and does not have that personalized touch to it. And I feel like if you do seek out like a personal bit and aspect, which is very important for any sort of event to kind of be even more special and memorable, those can be very costly as well. So I kind of
sure.
feel like there's a lot of gap in the market. Either it's very high end and personalized, or it's very standard and just go with whatever they have to offer. So I feel like kind of eliminating that challenge would mean that allowing a lot of new people to express their creativity, and kind of also doing some market research and bringing together. You could always collaborate, and I feel like it's a great time for collaboration. So I feel like if you find that potential in someone, you should never hesitate to.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like people doing the primary research, etc., should also be like a mix of people.
A mix
from,
of people.
Yeah, so they can represent the corporate dynamic as well. They can represent Gen Z as well,
Yeah.
perhaps of their likings, preferences.
Exactly.
So
You're
totally,
right.
that definitely needs to be there. Okay, so Maria, for example, if someone like an event planner reaches out to you for like a catering experience for an intimate wedding setup, how would you go about the process? Like, what items would you have on the menu for that particular catering experience, and how would you sort of deal with the event planners and everything?
So I think my main focus would first be connecting to the couple that is getting married. So I think having a meeting with them and the caterers to better understand कि उनके कौन से flavor preferences हैं, what maybe the couple connected over a chocolate cake on the first date. So I feel like all of those elements are very important. So first, speaking to the couple, understanding what they see in their dream event and their wedding, and what flavors play a good role in their relationship, and what preferences they have. Uske baad, definitely when it comes to variety, also understanding who will be the guest at the wedding, and friends and family. Are we talking about elderly people? If we are talking about elderly people, we know that strong flavors might not resonate with them a lot, and not doing something too experimental and too crazy for them. Versus if they have a lot of friends coming in, and friends like a lot of chocolatey items. So I feel like creating a menu based on what they want. The focus should always be the customer and the caterers.
For sure, for sure. And you mentioned cakes specifically. So, recently Maria's Cafe got a lot of attention with Ali Gulpir's wedding cake that you people made.
Yeah.
So what was the process like? Or do you have any more memorable experiences about wedding cake events that you want to share?
Yes. So many memorable events and things that happen related to wedding cakes. And I think my favorite, the start of the process is my favorite. Because उसमें जब वो couple comes in, so when they talk about the wedding cake, you can already tell that this is gonna be a very special cake for them.
For sure.
And so once I speak to them, I always make sure कि उनको मैं flavors try कराऊँ, and then उसके बाद हमें बहुत सारी clarity मिलती है. अक्सर a lot of couples come in and they're like, okay, we want a chocolate cake. But when we do a flavor test, we get to find out कि उनको chocolate भी पसंद है, but caramel भी पसंद है. They also like this flavor, that flavor. So we can customize each tier. And so for Ali Gulpir and Azima, what we did was हर उनका wedding cake का जो tier था, it was 3 tiers I believe. तो वो हर अलग flavor का था. Just so that Azima's favorite flavor was there, and Ali's favorite flavor was there, and everybody's was just incorporated.
That's really interesting, actually. And I mean, what are the general taste offerings that you people offer, or the flavors that you people offer? Is it Swiss meringue buttercream ones, or fondant ones, or 3 milk cakes?
So basically, for a wedding cake, I always say, acha, ek to we don't deal with fondant cakes at all. And I don't work with fondant because I feel like with the flavor definitely and the texture of the cake gets compromised, and a lot of people just rip the fondant out and they don't really eat it. I mean, it's aesthetically pleasing,
For sure.
but flavor wise, it's not the best, I feel like. So, हम जो cakes पे जब भी whenever we have a discussion, we always try to offer them a variety of flavors.
For sure. So, like my question to you, Maria, would be that you said you actually collaborate and, like you actually work in a collaborative environment with the couple. So, how do you ensure, or what's the process like, at least like a week prior to the wedding? Like how do you sort of have that conversation with the couple to personalize their wedding?
So I feel like it's such a heartwarming moment for them as well. But I feel like at the same time you have to kind of ensure that you get all the details right. Is the wedding indoor? Is it outdoor? Is it a daytime wedding? Is it a nighttime wedding? And also, first and foremost, when it comes to the cake, like, are there any nut allergies, dairy allergies? Do they want something gluten free? Second, like, our caramel crunch is a personal bestseller, a personal favorite and a bestseller as well. But we always have to make sure कि उसका जो crunch है, if there's a lot of elderly people at the wedding, they might not be comfortable with that flavor. They might have some sort of trouble with that. So I feel like always personalizing that as well. And then definitely for the cake itself, like just sharing pictures and mood boards and visuals. So it's like a full process. I think I take wedding cakes very seriously.
So you create like a proper mood board
Yes,
for like every
I
wedding.
want to get all the aesthetics right. I want to let them know, and I feel like in all the wedding cakes I've done, वो handcrafted, जो हमारा एक cafe का, like kind of like what we're known for, limited batch baking. It needs to translate. They need to know that I put in a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned specifically about outdoor settings. How a lot of times there's a lot of wedding, like cafe items that might not be able to sustain in like an outdoor warm environment or something like that. So what are the particular item offerings from Maria's Cafe that you've tried and tested and that work well with events?
So for events, I feel like you always have to stick to items that will last, like you said. So we try to do brownies, we do cookies, we do our coffee buns, cardamom buns, cinnamon rolls. We would probably be doing desserts in a cup, small tarts. All of this kind of stuff really just make it through any weather.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what would an ideal dessert table look like by Maria's Cafe, or what's your particular favorite theme for a dessert table?
So I feel like seasonal fruits are like my favorite. So working with those, I feel like you would see a lot of fresh fruits and stuff on the table, and I think chocolate, because I love chocolate. So I feel like a variety of chocolatey baked goods and like chocolate spreads and like a chocolate cake, and I love a classic simple chocolate cake. Like that's my comfort dessert. Like, after a long day, I want a chocolate cake. So I feel like my ideal table would probably revolve around chocolate and like tarts and fresh fruits and all of that.
I feel like we're talking about such delectable stuff. It's starting to
I'm starting to get hungry.
Same. It's like, those mouth-watering feels are starting to kick in and everything. So, you mentioned specifically, Maria, about, you being very particular about couples or just generally people at weddings, guests having nut allergies, and you're very like cautious about all of those things. So, Maria, do you also offer like other vegan alternatives, or do you also offer like, milk alternatives, and are you sort of incorporating sustainability into your business model somehow?
Yeah, so I feel like number one, like I said, with limited batch baking, you're already so involved and so careful about the product that you're creating to ensure quality. And then on top of that, we do offer gluten-free baked goods, we offer sugar-free baked goods. So those are always options that are available. The customer just needs to let us know and, give us the time to kind of create the perfect dessert for them, given those preferences. In terms of sustainability with limited batch baking, our aim is always to reduce wastage, and I think we do that by in the cafe and our shelf every morning we start from scratch, and every night we try to sell everything out. So we don't like to keep a lot of stuff and increase our wastage and kind of sell something that isn't fresh to our customers.
Okay, that's totally interesting for me to know. And like recently from your Instagram, we also found out that you're also offering your savory items and just your cafe baked goods at other restaurants in Karachi as well. Could you tell us a bit about that?
So that's like my favorite part of like collaborating and working with another brand or a cafe is to be able to supply, because like my passion is pastry and baked goods. So I think we do supply to a few cafes in Karachi, and we basically just we try to ensure that our amazing products make their way to their shops and their cafes, and that they're able to kind of make their customers happy and use our products as well over there.
Absolutely, that's totally interesting. And Maria, we talked about an intimate wedding setup as to how Maria's Cafe would go about catering for an intimate wedding setup. If, for example, an event planner reaches out to you for like a bigger corporate gathering, like perhaps like 1,000 people, how would you sort of go about that?
Firstly, I would lose my sleep because I would be very excited and thrilled. Before any sort of big order, big project, I just start to lose my sleep. And that's like me being very excited, and I start getting dreamy and like very focused on it,
Yeah.
like borderline obsessed. That's my favorite part. And I think your biggest like tool in that situation is to plan everything. And baking is all about down to measurements, ingredients, and planning. So first things first, just get all the points down and kind of speak to the caterers and the company as to what they're expecting and how we can do this in the best way possible. And then definitely just get to it, just hands on, just start baking like crazy.
That's wonderful, and I really hope Maria's Cafe is gonna get a lot of corporate
I'm so
high tea
excited.
orders in the
I'm
coming
manifesting it
lifetime.
right now, just sitting here. Now I'm
I believe
zoned
we
out.
both are manifesting it together.
Yeah.
Corporate events. for
Maybe
Maria's
you're gonna
Cafe,
reach
that's
out to me after this and
For
just be like,
for
well,
sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies are definitely going to reach out to us after
yeah.
this one.
I think we're doing a good job.
For sure. So, Maria, we've had like an interesting conversation so far, and now it's time for my favorite part of the show,
Which is
the rapid fire.
Oh, wow.
So we get into that, but for that, the drill is you need to be quick with your responses. You
Very
cannot
rapid.
take time, and I'd be quick with my questions as well.
Okay.
And yeah, we'd keep it quick, and I'm really excited. Are you excited?
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think you should take like a sip of your coffee.
I think
so
I
you
need
get
to take a
get
big
that-
sip, so just so I can get the
to get
rapid
that
part.
energy like going for sure.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. So my first question is one word to describe Maria's Cafe.
Cozy.
Craziest breakfast combo you've ever tried.
Again, ketchup.
3 must-have items for your menu.
Coffee bun, cinnamon roll, brownies.
One dream location for your cafe.
By the sea.
Most popular wedding cake flavor.
Chocolate.
If you could keep one drink in your menu, coffee drink on your menu forever, which one would it be?
Cappuccino.
Weddings or corporate events by Maria Cafe.
Weddings.
One dessert theme that always wows you.
Chocolate.
Most heartwarming cafe moment you've ever experienced. You can't do the. I mean like that's all.
Oh my God, this is a heartwarming moment we're talking about. Definitely customers coming in and talking good about my baked products, not knowing that I'm the owner and listening in. That is it.
Interesting. So, coffee or tea to keep you going on those long days?
Long days coffee.
Facebook or Instagram for business networking?
Instagram. I don't use Facebook.
One way that you would incorporate sustainability in your cafe?
Using biodegradable cutlery and all, and trying to sell out everything, less wastage. Yeah.
I think Mario, we need to get quicker with the rapid fire. I mean, you're doing amazing, but we need still
I'm
need
gonna
to
get into rap mode, man.
best-selling cafe item in Maria's Cafe.
Coffee bun.
Dream celebrity customer.
No. No, celebrity.
I'm sure you've already had like a lot of celebrity customers.
Yeah, but are we just talking about the celebrities
a dream
here?
celebrity customer. It could be from Bollywood, Hollywood, any dream celebrity customer.
That's a
While
tough
you're
one,
taking-
man. There's a lot of celebrities, but probably whoever is most popular at the time.
Okay, and any celebrity customer that's recently been to your store.
We've had Sumbul come in a bunch of times. Yeah.
Interesting. Most challenging event experience, like catering experience.
Challenging was we had a lot of 100 cakes to deliver the next day for a catering event, and at night our entire refrigerator switched off. So that was not just a challenge; it was a disaster.
Damn. Biggest business compliment you've ever received.
That I'm so young and I'm doing it right. Yeah.
And best-selling cafe item.
Coffee bun.
One piece of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs, cafe entrepreneurs.
I would say just get started and do your thing and don't take advice from anyone. Just do it and then take advice.
Perfect. And if Maria's Cafe were to be a song, which one would it be?
It would be Lee Festin from Ratatouille. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I feel like you did quite well on the rapid fire.
Yeah.
But wait, stay tuned until the end to find out if you get the hamper or not. I mean, we might as well have a hamper.
There was
for our
a
guests
hamper.
as well.
I might as well. Can we go again? I want the hamper, man.
For sure. We'll find out towards the end how you will assess your performance as well based off of, give
Should
an
have
end
said
of,
something crazy.
We'll give an end of the season hamper to one of our guests who performed the best at the rapid fire.
Oh
so
my
that's
God.
going to be interesting for us by Davat USA. So now, Maria, I feel like you fared well overall, referring for past performances as well. But now it's time for us to get a little excited about the future plans for Maya's Cafe. So,
that
time
is
to get
exciting.
into the serious conversations.
Will
again.
we also get a hamper for this? Just let me know beforehand.
The
so I
hamper
can
specifically exclusively for the rapid fire, but we'll see if you.
I really hope I win it.
For sure. So, Maya, like we've been talking about your entrepreneurial journey and what inspired you, but a lot of times it's also very difficult to be taken seriously as a female entrepreneur in Pakistan. So, how has your journey been as a female entrepreneur?
It's definitely been very challenging in all honesty, and especially given that not just being a girl but also being young, you're often misunderstood and kind of just undermined, and you feel like your skills aren't good enough and you still got a long way to go, which is true. You can always learn more, do more and be better, but I feel like people around you need to kind of recognize your potential and kind of take that seriously. Having to prove yourself to them is always a challenge, because there are testing times where they might not see you as a leader.
For sure. And I mean, just generally in Pakistan as well, it's very difficult to be taken seriously as a female and, be out there in such a competitive environment, especially the cafe business, because
In
it's
this
particularly
field.
male dominated.
It is male
So standing
dominated.
out is definitely.
And not just as a cafe owner, but also as someone who's a chef. I think in the kitchen, it's very male dominated and you don't see a lot of girls. And I think a personal dream of mine would also be to have more girls take part in, the culinary field and kind of just be there and form like a good team to rely on.
Yeah, that'd be great. I feel like women empowerment for sure. So Maya, you talked about dreams. So we're gonna sort of channel the conversation that way. But if you could host a grand event at your cafe, what would it be, and what would the theme be like, and what would the ambiance be like for your cafe?
So I feel like a grand event at the cafe, I think it would definitely, number one, be interactive, because I like to make sure that everyone is having a good time and playing some sort of role in the event. So I think maybe we could do like a bake with us kind of session, or kind of decorate with us, or kind of make coffee with us. And definitely I love listening to songs and music. And I think even when I'm baking or in the kitchen, or just when I'm really calm and just, in my element, I like to have some sort of music playing. So I think we would have a lot of music, maybe perhaps live singing and live music. And so definitely people baking or cooking something with us or decorating something with us, that would be it. And the entire vibe of it would be kind of like semi-formal, like kind of be dressed the part, but also ready to have fun.
Relax, chill,
And kind of, and I feel like baking is therapy. We already know that a lot of people, when they're stressed out, they like to bake and see like their, seeing their creation really helps you calm down. And it also incorporates all of your senses. You're using your hands, you're looking at the product, smelling it. So I think that would play a huge role. Like it would be like come and zen out with us, kind of like,
Yeah, I think that would totally be something very cool to do, and it's something that doesn't usually happen a lot.
It doesn't happen
at cafes in Pakistan, so for sure that would be interesting. So Maria, for aspiring event planners that are coming and emerging in the market, do you have any advice when it comes to particularly selecting the perfect caterer or catering partner for an event?
I think doing market research is very important, and really just sometimes you find these hidden gems here and there, and I think really kind of realizing them for who they are and knowing what the current industry is and kind of analyzing that is very, very important. For anyone starting any sort of business, you need to kind of find those people.
So, Maria, do you have any advice for any home-based entrepreneurs that, or home-based businesses or patissiers that want to emerge into the market and sort of go commercially or sort of emerge commercially as well? So, any advice for young entrepreneurs?
I think a challenge that a lot of home-based bakers might feel in the transition to commercializing is that in home-based businesses, the model is completely based on you. You decide that you have to order 3 days in advance or 2 days in advance or 48 hours in advance. You decide that the order will be picked up. In a commercialized business, it kind of centers more around the customer, and you need to be available. And I think for that, you need to have a very solid business plan in place and a very good routine, and just as a person be more disciplined, because I feel like with home based businesses you have that comfort of doing things at your own pace in the comfort of your own studio or home. And I feel like with a commercialized space or a kitchen, there's a lot of people, and in the kitchen especially,
There's a lot of pressure as well.
a lot of pressure. And I feel like in order to be a good team player in the kitchen, you need to have discipline, and you shouldn't feel the pressure, and you can only do that if you've planned everything well in advance. Otherwise, we even have moments where like the entire team is just bumping into each other and we're freaking out, and that only happens when we're not prepared well in advance. So I think you need to kind of be ready to face those things. Yeah.
For sure, I can totally like relate to that, because I also happen to be someone who runs like a home-based business. So for sure, I mean, I can totally relate to that. And Maria is an expert in the culinary industry. What are some upcoming food and beverages trends, especially in Karachi, that you feel could be sort of trickled down or amalgamated into the event catering space?
So number one, I would say that a lot of people are now kind of breaking into coffee, and a lot of specialties of coffee and specialty coffee brands are kind of making their way into the Karachi, food scene and everything. So definitely knowing your coffee is definitely one thing that I would say focus on, because now a lot of people are coffee drinkers and they've switched, and not just chai, a lot of people are going more towards the entire coffee route. And not just that, I would also say another trend that I see will probably be highlighted is a lot of people are health conscious now. So definitely, like we spoke about, offering alternatives, whether it's milk or it's like vegan options, dairy free options, sugar free options. This is definitely picking up. People want to have desserts, but they don't want to feel guilty. So I feel like making it yummy and healthy and wholesome.
I feel like you've summed it up pretty well. Organic, no preservatives, and like a very wholesome experience.
Because but also like, true to the flavor, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times eating out is mostly like an experience for people, and especially like, dining out at cafes primarily, or, going to coffee shops. It's more about the experience and the vibe of it rather than, just like having the coffee.
100%. Like and I love like simple and wholesome food. So I feel like I want to be able to serve that. Like when I eat a meal, I want it to feel like this just made my heart kind of light up a little bit.
Yeah, so we're almost nearing the end of our conversation, but Maria, we have two last questions for us. But what sort of is next for Maria's Cafe in terms of the event catering space or collaborations with event planners in the future? And just for Maria's Cafe in general, do you intend to expand? Do you intend to grow, have more branches?
So I feel like in links to my dreams, definitely it's a big chunk of my dream is to kind of see Maria's Cafe expand, and I feel like stay true to the values that we have in place, which is very personalized and very true to the main aspect, which is like perfecting the baking aspect and quality control. So I want to see Maria's Cafe all over Karachi and everywhere else, but as long as we're true to our, like our main set values. And in terms of catering, I definitely feel like with catering events, everybody deserves to have good food and good bakery products. So I feel like they definitely need to reach out to us. And why have like a boring menu when you can have a great one from us?
I feel like that's amazing for like some last thoughts. But any advice that you have for aspiring cafe entrepreneurs that are emerging, and any last thoughts that you do have to share with our viewers and listeners?
Well, this has been so much fun, and it got me thinking. And I think something that I would probably say to someone that's an aspiring cafe owner would be just to take your first step. Even though the first step is always the hardest to take, I think you have to kind of just go for it and believe in yourself. And I think don't get overwhelmed by all the possibilities. Even when I was starting out, given that I was very young and unsure and no prior experience, I feel like a lot of people would try to tell me, you know, Maria, you should focus on cakes. No, Maria, focus on cookies. No, Maria, now everybody is talking about the milk cake, so do the milk cake. So I feel like you already know what you love doing. So focus on that and you will get to places if you're, you know, working hard and you're improving on yourself. So I feel like keep at it. Just take the first step and you'll go places. I'm sure of it. So I think that would be my advice. That just don't take too a lot of advice from everyone. Yeah.
Great, Maria. I feel like that's a great way to end, sort of like, you know, tail towards the end. But towards the end, we have something interesting, which is song recommendations from our guests. It's like the guests playlist, and we're sort of collaborating and sort of, you know, amalgamating all the guests' preferences. So we ask our guests about 2 to 3 personal recommendations of songs that our listeners could listen to. So do you have any to share with our listeners, Maria?
Yeah, of course. I listen to a bunch of music and now I'm having a little bit of a brain freeze. But one song that I've been listening to on repeat is called For My Hand. And I really like
Who's
that.
it
It's
by?
by Ed Sheeran. It's a lot of fun, like a lot of fun beats and stuff. And then I also like My Oasis by Sam Smith, also very beaty and fun and good
Sam
lyrics.
Smith is
Sam Smith is pretty awesome, like a reliable, like, you know, you can always just
yeah, the
connect.
go-to music. Yeah.
Go to music. And a third one would probably be
Something that sort of motivates you to work as well, because
motivate me to work. Probably the song The Greatest. Whoa, I don't know, I'm forgetting who is by, but it's very popular. I think Sia or something.
Not sure. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
The
I haven't heard
Greatest,
it,
yeah.
but I'll definitely give it a listen out.
Yeah, it's basically telling you to be the greatest.
So once again, thank you so much, Maria, for being here on the show. It was truly delightful to have a conversation with you, and we absolutely cannot wait to sort of collaborate in the future as well.
I'm so excited for that as well. Thank you so
Likewise.
much.
Thank you for your time, and we'd like to thank our listeners for tuning in as well. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.